I want to talk about statistics. Conservative arguments rarely have statistics on their side. So what they have to do is use the outlier case, it's most likely the worst possible case, and say that that's representative of the full data set. If you were to do that in like a research paper and submit it to an academic journal, they wouldn't accept your paper because that's not how we do statistics. But I see this happening in four ways. Immigrants, trans people, crime in general, protests. For immigrants, undocumented immigrants commit crimes at lower rates than documented immigrants, while documented immigrants commit crimes at lower rates than natural-born U.S. citizens. They have to emphasize the minority less likely case. First of all, it's scary, and second of all, they say this is what's happening. They say undocumented immigrants, they're coming over here, they're criminals, they're murdering and raping and dealing drugs and all this stuff.
And while those things do happen, they're not representative of the full group of people.
When it comes to trans people, the overwhelming majority of trans folks who either socially transition or get physical treatment like hormone therapy or puberty blockers do not regret those things. The regret rate for physical procedures involved in gender-affirming care is less than 1%, while the regret rate for all medical procedures is around 7%. Painting these procedures as things that trans people go on to regret is inaccurate because that's extremely unlikely. For crime, they want you to think that crime is anything else but driven by poverty.
Whereas poverty is a much better predictor than police spending and police presence.
Meaning when poverty rates are higher, crime is higher. So if you wanted to address crimes actually happening, you would invest in bringing people out of poverty because they're less desperate and more occupied, right? They have things to do in their community besides commit crimes. But they'll say we have to put more money into police, even though increased police presence and increased police funding are associated with higher crime rates and lower crime solve rates. But if you buy into that, then you're falling into the defund the police argument. Last is protests, whether it's Black Lives Matter protests or Palestinian protests. You have to take the worst case. When any of those protests devolve into violence, harassment, damaging property, the overwhelming majority of all of those protests for Israel, for Palestine, and for Black Lives Matter were nonviolent, did not result in property damage, and especially when it comes to pro-Palestinian ones, did not end with harassment of Jewish people or Jewish institutions. And while I fully understand that anti-Semitism incidents are rising, violence happens in those protests around 2% of the time. So think about that. Are you emphasizing the small minority case, saying that that represents the entire distribution of points when you have these opinions? And if so, you shouldn't be.